Welcome, everybody. I am Kelly Dumar, and I am the host of the monthly Journal of Expressive Writing Open Mic. And I work with Jen Minotti, the founder and editor of the Journal of Expressive Writing. And I am so grateful to have the opportunity to be in this role with you and to welcome you all tonight to the special event of launching this fabulous anthology. 40 women answered the question, who am I today? This was edited by Jennifer A. Minotti. And there's a foreword in the book by Amy Agigian, and she is here tonight with us as well. Amy, where are you? Just wave your hand at us. Yes, there she is. So we're going to be hearing from both Amy and Jen in just a minute, but I want to give you a little bit of an overview of what we're going to do. Jen is going to lead us in an opening. We're going to hear from Amy to talk a little bit about her role in this wonderful project. And then we're going to introduce the anthology. And we have 17 readers signed up to read their mostly brief descriptions, what they contributed, and what has been published in the anthology. So that's, and then we're going to have a question and answer, and you're all invited to say hello in the chat room or leaving the chat room open throughout. Always feel free to leave a message to one of the readers to say, wow, I really love that. Or I really identify with that. Thank you for saying that. Feel free to give your readers all the encouragement that you want to in the chat room. And if you have a question for one of the writers, or if you have a question for Jen as the anthology editor, we will be having a bit of a Q&A at the end after all the readers have spoken. All righty. So Jen, I think I've said everything I need to, and just to orient us and get us going here. So let me introduce you just to give our opening, and then I'll give you a more formal introduction in just a minute. But this is Jen Minotti. Welcome. We're so glad you're here tonight to celebrate this book.
Yay. Hi, everybody. I am so thrilled to be here. Oh my gosh, this is such a thrill. The first thing I want to do, I wanted to simulate what a women's writing circle would feel like, not the whole thing, but just to give you, for those of you who haven't attended a women's writing circle, I wanted you to get kind of just a little flavor. So the first thing that we always do is I ask people to write down 3 words about how they're feeling in this moment. It's not a test, it's not a quiz. Just jot down 3 words about how you're feeling. And if you'd like to share them, put them in the chat. And if you want to keep them private, that's fine too. Just write them on a slip of paper next to you. And I will tell you more about that at the end. And then the next thing we do is we start with an opening meditation. I always want all of the women in the Women's Writing Circle to feel safe, to feel honored, to feel respected. So I just take a little pause at the beginning, just to have everybody kind of settle in, kind of leave behind, what else they're doing in the day, and to really honor this space of 90 minutes that's just for themselves and for the other women in the circle. So I'm just going to lead us through this is great. I love seeing these words come through. Thank you. I'm going to lead us through a little meditation, and then I'll pass it back to Kelly. Okay, so here we go. I arrived today at the Women's Writing Circle with these hopes and aspirations. Let me trust myself and this space, knowing that this is a place of sincere and genuine hospitality, where everyone's voice matters, where we support one another, encourage one another, and inspire one another. I come to this circle for myself, as well as the diverse women in this circle, to create, to learn, and to share. In this circle, I will honor everyone's words, including my own, bearing witness and listening with deep compassion and reverence. I will practice what it feels like to be heard in this world and in a community of other women and writers. I will be brave when I can. I will be vulnerable when I am able. I will celebrate my uniqueness and delight in yours. This circle is a place to get rid of outdated stories and to heal. Like a yoga class, this is a space for grounding, balancing, and centering. I thank myself and all of you for carving out these 90 minutes in our day to be in a circle together. The Women's Writing Circle is a safe circle where voices are strengthened, connections are built, and friendships are formed. Writing is our tool and deep listening is our objective. We are stewards of transformation and global activists of peace, love, and gratitude. Let us begin. And then I always read either a poem or a quote, something very inspiring to get us in the mood. And then I offer the very first prompt, which is always, who am I today? And so Kelly, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you. Wonderful job. Okay, now remove spotlight. I'm wanting now to introduce Amy Agigian. Amy, where are you? Raise your, oh, there you are. All right. Amy Agigian, PhD, is Associate Professor in the Department of Sociology and Criminal Justice at Suffolk University, Boston, where she's the founding director of the Center for Women's Health and Human Rights. She's the author of Baby Steps, How Lesbian Alternative Insemination is Changing the World, as well as articles, reviews, encyclopedia entries, and a memoir in progress. Trained in the sociology of women, gender, sexuality, and health, both at the University of California at Santa Cruz and at Brandeis University. Her teaching and professional presentations have addressed issues including commercial and technological procreation, feminist approaches to infertility, CEDAW and related human rights methodologies, and the politics of women's health. She's honored and thrilled to be pursuing her feminist dreams as executive director of Our Bodies, Ourselves Today, which will bring critical intersectional feminist health and sexuality info to further generations of women, girls, and gender expansive people. Thank you for being here tonight, Amy. And I know you've written a foreword to the anthology, and I know you've been instrumental in inviting and involving Jen to be part of the center. And I'd love to have you just say a few words to talk about the mission of the center and maybe what your role has been in the story of the anthology.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm really delighted to be here. And Jen has been a visiting artist, visiting writer at the Center for Women's Health and Human Rights for years now. And it's just so great to be able to have this as part of our offerings, the women's writing circles as part of what we're doing at the center. And just a couple words about the center. It's the first academic institute in the US to focus on women's health and human rights in the social sciences, arts and humanities, and public policy. We founded it in 2003, so we're going to have a 20th anniversary party later this year in the fall. And we promote a humanistic vision of bodily integrity, gender equality, and social justice. And the Women's Writing Circle just fits in so beautifully because, you know, we're a very holistic, our perspective is very holistic. And so, you know, the women's writing circles are all about using expressive writing, in my view, they're about using expressive writing for consciousness raising and for healing, both mentally and physically. And they're just such a wonderful, lovely offering. They're a space that really welcomes us to just be and blossom and express ourselves and hear each other. And all of those things are part of women's health, and they are things that we all have a right to as well. And I'm just really thrilled to be able to help provide the space for Jen to work her magic and, embrace so many of us, and now to create this beautiful book that is launching into the world. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy. And we look forward to hearing you read your piece that's in the anthology in a short time. So thank you so much. And I just want to remind you that we'll be putting the order information where you can purchase your copy, or your 5 copies or 10 copies, however many you want, in the chat room. You'll have information. If you haven't ordered yours already, the information will be put there. But also, Jen, we want to mention that we're having a book giveaway tonight where Jen is giving away a copy and I'm giving away a copy. And those copies are going to be coming to whom, Jen? How are we doing this tonight? You're going to pick some names by the end of our session tonight, and just some lucky random names out of a hat of people who are here tonight, and 2 lucky people will get a copy of the book.
That's correct, Kelly. And I will announce the names, and then I'll have people direct message me or email me their address, and we'll get it out to them.
Excellent. So make sure you stay tuned and stay here till the end, and we will announce who those lucky winners are. All righty. So I want to tell a little bit about this beautiful book that we're talking about tonight. I was one of the fortunate people who got to read a copy before it was printed, so that I could give my sense in writing of what my own response to this book was. So I'm going to tell you what that is. And I wrote, this successful anthology engages readers from start to finish in a first read and sends the reader back to favorites many times. Jennifer Menotti has inspired writers with a simple question that evokes authenticity and generates captivating stories. The answers to who am I today are as fresh and diverse as the contributors who share them. This collection throbs with awakening in the midst of illness, fierce self-love in the face of abuse, and sexy toughness after the loss of a spouse. The brave truths shared in prose and poetry tease out our own answers. In the words of one writer, I refuse to waste time at war with what is. I want words to be bridges instead of weapons. Jennifer's project convinces us in every selection that the act of writing itself is an answer. So welcome to the book launch for Who Am I Today? 40 Women Answer the Question. I want to tell you a little bit about the anthology, how it's described by the publisher. In this stunning collection of poetry, prose, flash, nonfiction, and memoir, 40 talented women answer the question, who am I today? A simple writing prompt that Jennifer poses at the beginning of each of her women's writing circles. This anthology illuminates the individual and collective power that arises when women's voices are held, supported, and affirmed. These brilliant women write not just for themselves, but for every woman. This is a collection to savor, to return to, and to share. So one of the things that Artress Bethany White, who wrote Author of Survivor's Guilt, Essays on Race and American Identity, said about the book, the stories gathered here speak of heartbreaking loss and endurance and demand to be heard. They reveal how brave it is to hold space and know it's enough to be present after the heart has been soldered by life. Readers are enjoined to put doubt in abeyance and resurface daily to embrace yourself, because there is a reward for daring to write. And this is it. Jen answers the question, why do I start each women's writing circle with this prompt? She does it intentionally, she says, because writing about who we are on any given day is a way to check in with ourselves, to see what's coming up for us, and to use the medium of expressive writing as a way to introduce ourselves to the others in the circle. And the 5 to 10 minutes of expressive writing pieces should be saved, even though they may not seem like much. Each time they write to this prompt, they're recording what's going on in that moment. Looking back days, months, or years later, they'll be able to see what they were feeling. And more importantly, they will have a record of how far they have come. Well, tonight we have those records generated as writing, and we have around 18 writers that we're going to hear from tonight, starting with, and I hope I'm going to pronounce these names correctly. So I'm going to give a heads up to 3 writers at a time, so you can get yourself ready. When it's your turn and I announce you, I'm going to read a brief bio for each writer, and then you're going to unmute and you're going to read, and then you're going to mute again, and we'll move on to the next one. So the first 3 writers that are lined up here are Geotermaya Thakur, and please feel free to correct your name when I introduce you, Paula Hagar, and Ayn Graney. And I've got my bios here. Just give me a second. I need to quickly find Geotermaya's biography. Where are you, Geotermaya? Let's find you. Can you wave so I can see where you are and spotlight you? Or why don't you unmute? Geotermaya? She's here, right? Katerina?
I don't see her.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead then to our second reader, and if she comes in, somebody give me a heads up and we'll just put her in a different order. So Paula, Paula, you're up first.
Hello.
Hi. Okay. So, and then it's going to be Ayn Graney and then Barbara Simmons. So Paula. Okay. Paula, let me see if I can find you and give you a spotlight. So wave to me.
Well, apologize. My video doesn't work. I have a picture. Let me,
Oh, well, you
wave.
can't wave to me if we only have your picture. Okay.
There's the
There
wave.
you go. Oh, perfect. Raising your hand was really super helpful. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Paula Hagar lives and writes in Denver, Colorado. She has been an avid journal writer for 55 years. Her passions are traveling the U.S. entirely on back roads while writing, photographing, and painting her adventures. She's been published in several anthologies. Her mantra is wander often, wander always. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you, and I apologize for my hoarse voice. I have a bad cold. Who am I today? Last month, I was a woman who spent 8 days alone, dying from fear and anxiety in the parched, prickly desert near Tucson, not knowing at the time that I was plunging into a deep, dark night of the soul. Today, I am a woman reborn who has finally risen back into the light and is learning to fly with newly sprouted baby wings. Darkness for me is too often all-encompassing, lightless, hopeless, helpless, body and mind pressed down flat to the earth by negative thoughts and the giant shoe of life, crushing me down. Even when there are days or weeks of no relief from the vast abyss, the one life vest I have always been able to see and grab onto is beauty, even though I forget about it in the darkness. The sweet song of red-breasted house finches darting to and fro among the patio rafters, trying to settle on the perfect nesting corner, the scratch of the squirrel's claws on the screen door, begging and waiting patiently for a walnut, a cracker, an apple, the blue, blue, blue spring sky that exists only in Colorado and comes and goes and shifts in minutes with equally mesmerizing white peony blooms of clouds. And right now, the peonies themselves that grow 2 inches a day, the magenta flash of blooming crab apples on every street, and the lilac buds getting ready to pop and bloom as they always do on my birthday in 5 days. It's harder to see the beauty of turning yet 1 year older again, especially after this past lost year. But I hold on to the relief that another year means I am still alive and kicking. I am not dying. I still have time and life ahead of me. Today, and in these last stressful weeks, I've been thinking incessantly about hope. I'm not often sure just what it is, where it is, and how to grab onto it as the life preserver I need. But today, after weeks of depressing writing, I finally journaled my way out. I finally remembered that hope, among other things, lies in beauty and my wonderful ability to always focus on it with every turn of my head. The tulips this year are the biggest and most bountiful they've ever been. Such tender beauty in the deep blackness of Java Jive, his golden eyes full of love for me, and for the same songbirds I love and feed, and his lazy basking beneath the bird feeders where he simply watches them and never kills one, bursts my eyes open. This old cat and the way his glossy blackness turns maroonish and chocolatey in the sun, and his sweet coos of joy melt my heart every time he sees me and every bird, moth, bug, dancing leaf. There is such wonder in his intense curiosity, even days later, at his first encounter with the scent of fresh sage bits I plucked at the Botanic Gardens on Sunday. Another place full of nothing but brilliant flowers, earthy scents, ducks with fuzzy babies, and that black-crowned night heron perched on a rock, waiting motionless to pluck a goldfish from the Japanese garden pond. Beauty in every glance, every breath. All I have to do to reconnect with the world, to hold on to the light and hope that beauty and color, birds, trees, art, sky, and life can resuscitate me, is simply remember to just open my eyes and my heart. Writing can bring me back, but I forgot all this as I slowly swam up through the darkness and back up toward the rays of light. Why do I keep forgetting the superpower of mine? Why do I have to keep remembering to remember to simply turn my head wherever I am and look and listen at any moment? There is beauty in every glance, no matter where I am. Today, I am a woman who is remembering that beauty is my lifeline, and journaling helps get me back there when I forget. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paula. Who am I today? Paula Hagar.
And I might add that that was written in May of 21. So right after COVID.
Aha, thank you. Thank you so much. And next up, we have Ayn Graney and then Barbara Simmons and Terry Lee. Ayn is here, correct? Can you unmute? Oh, Katarina had to leave. Is she here, do you
okay.
think?
Yeah, I'm here.
Ah,
Can you-
okay,
Okay, great.
great. And can you wave to me so I can find you? And spotlight you?
Yep.
There's a lot of people here. I'm having a hard time seeing you. Are you, where?
I just put a digital wave up there. Oh,
A little wave, okay.
I can put a smiley face on there.
Yes.
Little heart, red heart.
If you see her, Jen, you can also give her a spotlight. Because I'm having trouble with it. Finding you. Wave wildly to me. There you are. You should, there you are. Got it, got it. Thank you so much. Am I pronouncing your first name correctly?
It's Anya.
Anya Greeny. Well, say the whole thing so you get to say it right.
Try and get to take off these little emojis here. Well, I guess the heart looks good, right? It's Anya Graney. You had the
Anya
the second
Graney is
part,
an Irish-born author who lives and writes on Boston's North Shore. In addition to her 5 books, her essays and stories have appeared in publications such as Creative Nonfiction, the Boston Globe magazine, and the World Channel. She teaches writing to community groups. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. Today I am sitting on the seawall watching 4 swans and watching the hours and the minutes until it's time to drive my husband to the hospital for outpatient surgery. A new swan glides into view. Now they are 5. Today will be the 5th hospital trip. Mostly I remember silly things like that ER waiting room where none of us could meet each other's eyes, or that snack machine where the potato chips jammed and that I body slammed to release a food that I don't even like. An office where I did my day job work with the cell phone set on high, and when it rang, it wasn't the surgeon, but someone calling across state lines. Because she said, I hate to wait for these things. I really wanted to tell her this: good waiting makes good hospital. Books I've read, pages I've written, deadlines I've met, because really it's amazing what you can do while the machines bleep and the patients sleep and you keep busy, because really nobody wants to deal with the bothersome wife. New swans have arrived. Now they are 9. There's an old ballad about a swan. I remember it now. It's like, 2 island swans were mated for life, and his faithful heart would not consider any other wife. Oh yeah, the faithful heart. Sitting here on the seawall, I think, well, it's easy for the bloody swans. And sitting here on the seawall, I ask, who the heck gets to define faithful? Sitting here on the seawall, I think how once I thought I could list the component parts of a faithful heart. As I leave the seawall, I think how some days faithfulness is just a to-do list that gets done. There's this thing, this next thing, one by one.
Thank you, Ina Greeny. And next up, we have Barbara Simmons, and then Terry Lee and Marjorie Moorhead. So Barbara, would you, oh, good, there you are, right there. Excellent. Barbara Simmons is a native Bostonian residing in California, a Wellesley College graduate and a retired teacher and counselor. She explores the communion of words as ways to remember and envision. Publications include Boston Accent, New Verse News, Soul Lit, and Capsule Stories. Offertories, Exclamations, and Disequilibriums is her first book of poetry, Spring 2022. Welcome, Barbara Simmons.
Thank you so much. Who am I today? I'm someone who's worried about the flashing light I've begun to see out of the corner of my left eye, worried enough to have looked it up online in one of those medical sites where conditions can be investigated with the privacy of one's computer queries, but where the concerns linger long after the computer screen has dimmed. And given the possibilities that I may have more than floaters, and in my aging might need to see someone for retinal care, I am always looking around, literally, to see if I can catch a glimpse of that itinerant flashing light, hoping to capture the invader to my vision and lock it away, at least for a while. It makes me think of all that I have on my bucket list to see, how important vision is to me, to be the traveler, the reader, the viewer, with eyes appreciating the scene, the foods, the colors, the cadences, the rhythms, the words, the pages, the screens of all the visuals that have kept me longing for dawn after every dusk. It's made me remember the kinds of light that have informed my world. The rooms that are lit so softly that all within is contained without edges. The paths that are laser beamed by flashlight that have led me to discover there's always more beyond the darkness. The pinpricks of a starry night that reveal so many bodies of light, so much older than I, so much farther away than I'll ever travel, that all I can utter is thank you. Something I read a year ago when the lockdown from COVID began said that just as we're gradually losing our hair and our athletic prowess, we gradually are gaining emotional stability and life satisfaction. I may not have all of my sight, but I think I know that my vision is better than it's ever been, and my horizons can only be described as infinite. Who am I today? Someone who will still have REMs, will still dream, will still imagine a world, even if my eyes cannot see everything clearly.
Thank you so much, Barbara Simmons. And next up, we have Terry Lee and then Marjorie Moorhead and Andrea Twombly. So Terry Lee, you are up. Terry, do you want to unmute and say something?
Here I am. Hi. Can you see me? I can try to do the hand raising. Let's see if I can do that.
Yeah, there you are. Terrific. Thank
That worked.
you. That helped a lot. Okay, Terry, excuse me, Terry Lee is a multidisciplinary designer living in Rochester, New York, where she immigrated at the age of 7 months. She reconnected with her Korean heritage living in South Korea for 2 years, but it wasn't until the world shut down for COVID that she began to reflect on her identity as a Korean American. Welcome, Terry Lee.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Let's just dive in. My piece is called Open Eyes. I'm a 48-year-old woman trapped in an 8-year-old mind, peering in the mirror, looking at my eyes that don't open very wide. I'm looking, pushing eyelids up, and wondering if the fold will hold if I blink my eyes. How long can I go without blinking? I'm the 14-year-old searching the frames at the optometrist, wondering if any will sit on my nose and clear my cheeks. Why, oh, why did my vision go so bad now? I lived 48 years, and this is the first year I allowed myself to remember. Remember how it really felt to grow up Korean American in a mostly white suburb. I was one of the few Asians and one of the few non-Jewish families I knew. I wished and wondered how it might feel if I were at least Jewish. I could go to Hebrew school. I would be part of a community. I wouldn't be alone. I was learning English amongst a community of Jewish families, and no, I didn't know which words were Yiddish and which were English. I was struggling to fit in. I was thrilled to be called a banana, a Twinkie. I mean, who wouldn't be thrilled to know that deep down you act, talk, and seem like every other white person around? I wasn't the type of immigrant wearing my shoes with the heels folded in like those other Asians. I was a bona fide American, as long as you didn't see me. I loved calling people, but once you asked for my full name, reality struck, and you learned that I'm not white. I tried to hide, swapping my first name so it wasn't Korean, and adapted my baptismal name as my first name. I convinced my parents when we were getting our citizenship to make it official. I am Teresa first, not Haiti. I hoped that no one would ever ask me for my middle name. If they did, I left it at H. That could be anything, right? Helen, Harriet, Hope. Let the guessing commence. At 48, I'm feeling all the feels of suppressed reality and doing my best as a passing Asian American. I'm hurt, angry, disappointed. Why did I humiliate other immigrant Asians, including my own parents? Why did I feel so proud to sound like an American? Why didn't I let myself feel when someone would tell me to go home? Home? You mean Rochester? I don't know any other place. I came to America when I was 7 months old, and for 48 years, I've been trying to understand who I am, where I belong. I spent decades assuming I couldn't be a writer because, well, my first language is not English, right? I can't speak Korean well, but because my parents speak English as a second language, I too must have poor English. I assumed I should never be in the public eye. Who would support an Asian actor, politician, or musician? As an Asian, I'm bound to become a mathematician, scientist, something very logical. And yet here I am, 48 years later, a creator, artist, designer. I am spontaneous, a risk taker, and I love all things that push boundaries. I have yet to follow the normal path of life. I spent 48 years assuming I was just one of those weird ones, failing at life over and over. I tried to remain as incognito as I could, didn't seem fame or a position of authority. I was a good cog in the machine of life. And while I kept spreading my wings and finding adventures, I would always return to accept something normal and try once again to ground myself in expectation and duty. I have fought 48 years to hide my identity as Asian American, but it's time. After 48 years, I am angry. What is this society that tells me I don't belong? Who are you in the community whom continue to stay silent and let this be normal? Why did so many of us assimilate and just accept our place? I am fired up. I'm 48 years old and finally realizing all that is bottled up inside. And it's time to stand up. It's time to demand change. I'm ready to open up, be vulnerable, get fired up by the suppression of our society. It's time to come together for all my fellow Asian Americans. Today, my narrow eyes are open.
Thank you so much, Terry Lee. Who am I today? And now we have Marjorie Moorhead, and then we're having Andrea Twombly, and then we are having a reader filling in for Christine Sissy White. So Marjorie Moorhead, you are up.
My, I don't know. Are you hearing me?
I am. I'm hearing and
computer
seeing you.
is just having giving me huge problems tonight. It's kind of
Okay, well,
hilarious.
you're here. You seem fine, Marjorie. Let me introduce you, and
Okay.
then we'd love to hear you. So Marjorie Moorhead originally found her voice in poetry through examining a long formative survival journey. Her poems are collected in the chapbooks Survival, Trees, Tides, Song. I think it's Finishing Line Press 2019, and Survival Part 2, Trees, Birds, Ocean, Bees, Duck Lake Books 2020, as well as a variety of anthologies and journals. Welcome, welcome, Marjorie Moorhead.
Thank you. Thrilled to be here. Thrilled to be part of this anthology. Who am I today? Today, I am writing. I am a writer. I am listening. I am a mother, a daughter, a bird watcher, an owl, morning dove, the clouds, full pink supermoon, and more. I am all of the above. And below, I am the roots, the dirt, the leaves decaying. Do you know the term mycelial? How lovely the web of an organic extending, reaching arms, finding all, enabling life and survival. I am a part of that network too. Grains of dirt, the water flowing through, the minerals feeding seeds and bulbs. Yes, and I am the sunset, pink orange and going down. I am a pine tree grown tall. I am a faraway star, twinkling, always around, but truly seen only when the dark is deep enough. I am a mountain, blue and majestic. Come, soar with me today as we sail into magnificence. Thanks.
Thank you, Marjorie Moorhead. Who am I today? And next up, we have Andrea Twombly, and then we will have someone reading for Sissy White, and then Taslim Jaffer. So, Andrea.
I'm here.
Wonderful. Gotcha. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Yep, you're welcome.
So this is Andrea Twombly, a native New Englander, retired manufacturing business owner who adores words and has abandoned number-filled days with glee. An author by surprise, she has published 5 Christmas stories and 1 novel. She's a mother of 1 and a grandmother of 1. Andrea will love and miss her late husband forever. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you. And I'm happy to amend that I now have 2 grandchildren.
Oh, that's exciting. You gotta update those bios. Those
That's right.
grandchildren count.
That's right. Who am I today? Alone with coffee and my happy light piercing the early morning cobwebs. I really don't know who I am today. Until you asked, I had the idea that I am simply a 60-something woman awake and wondering at the chipmunk feasting at the bird feeder outside my living room window. And somehow I had spent a few moments being my essence, pure being. No comparisons, no regrets, no heartache. But since you asked, right now I am a 16-month-old widow. And since you asked, tears are rolling down my face once again. I sit in silence. No morning news on the radio. Some break the silence with chatter and noise, but I prefer to bathe in it, listening for any whispers that might sound from beyond the veil.
Thank you so much, Andrea Twombly. Who am I today? And now we are going to hear from Jennifer Minotti, who is going to read a piece by Christine Sissy White, who's unable to be here with us tonight.
Hi, everybody. Sissy is a dear friend of mine, and actually, the Women's Writing Circle would actually not exist if it was not for Sissy in the early years of my conceptualizing it and finding the courage to facilitate my very first Women's Writing Circle. I met Sissy and we actually tested it out together. And she just offered an incredible amount of support. Sissy wrote this piece. It's on, for those of you who have the book, the anthology, it's on page 20. She wrote this piece in one of our women's writing circles. This came right out. And she couldn't be with us tonight because, and you'll understand, but when I read this, but she couldn't be here tonight because she's just entered hospice care. I'm going to read this for her. Who am I today? I'm tired of fighting. I tell my palliative care contact Jen via Zoom. It's not a fair fight anyhow, she said, and exhausting. It's not just ovarian cancer I'm tired of fighting though. It's the fuck cancer framework that's simplistic and insulting, as well as the denial of others I'm done with. I can no longer listen to how healthy I look, how long I'll live, or how fine I'll be. These words never make me feel better. I've had surgery, 11 cycles of chemo, been in a clinical trial, and my oncologist says the cancer is growing and the treatment options are shrinking. It is not a pessimism to reckon with reality. I refuse to waste time at war with what is, even when it's not the reality that I'd handpicked. I don't want to fight about what's true in my life. Denial and anger may be shields to hide behind and more familiar now than sorrow, but neither is worthy of my time. Maybe I should say to my partner, thank you for loving me. I'm sorry my disease is hard for you. Planning for death is difficult. I want words to be bridges instead of weapons. Want them to offer solace and protection like bandages do for well-tended wounds. Instead, our words are rubbing each other raw, leaving open cuts dirty, oozing, and on the verge of infection. How can I say I want you holding my hand when I'm dying, but I'm afraid my death will kill you? How can I say if I can't save my own life, shouldn't I at least try to save yours? Your heart is bound so tightly, fear it will stop. I fear it will stop beating or explode. How can I say, I know you love me, but you clearly aren't capable of coping right now? It feels like we're in a car on the highway. I'm in the passenger seat. You're driving. The hood flies up and opens, blocking the windshield and our vision. I say, slow down, pull over, but you keep pretending we aren't in any danger, won't run anything over, that this ride is like any other. You shush me, insist on being alarmist and negative. You say you are a cup half full, sort of human, but don't notice how you use your water to drown me out. It feels like you are always pointing at the horizon, making sure I look ahead as though I'm not consumed already and staring at the water as I vomit over the railing. Don't you think I want to be the woman in the colorful dress with the sunglasses and the relaxed look on her face, who smiles and holds the hand of her child who squeals in delight? They are new and bright and full of promise, their sky and future spread out wide, while I am picking through the past, stumbling to the storage room below deck, searching for a life vest so I can tread water a bit longer. Still, even from where I stand, there are sacred seconds and stories I want to share. Still, what I am experiencing is holy and sacred. Sometimes I'm a shell floating in the sea, letting the water hold and buoy me. Sometimes I hold her water in the cup of space that is the center, and I become a boat, a home, a house, the adventure of something even smaller. I'm tiny, but still important, useful, and beautiful. As a seashell, I learn how to turn over, empty out, and rest. I let the sun boil off the chill till I am dry. I hover, ebb, and flow by the tide line, learning to accept being in or on land, being tossed upon or taken underwater. I'm so alive and still transforming. I take in the smell of cinnamon held close to my nose or sprinkled over my coffee. I take in the smell of the damp dog as I rub her down after our walks. She likes to lean into me, knowing it's time for her towel massage. She lets me rub her wet belly and muddy feet. I take in the smell of vanilla lotion as I rub my hands together, slightly sticky and warm, grateful for all the ways age lets us learn to mother our own skin, our own taste buds and passions. The leaves crinkle underfoot as I go to get the hanging ferns. They're no longer lush, lively, or sun-kissed, but they're still alive. They're ready to be moved in for the winter, bundled up and rehoned until it's safe to go outside again. I bite delight and let sensations sting me back repeatedly. I call it joy stalking, and it's a daily practice that keeps me from dwelling in doom. The lavender plant in my driveway still has bits of purple. I bend down and touch, rubbing the scent into my fingertips, and stop to appreciate the aroma, grateful for my effort to plant and tend, and its willingness to open and bloom in return. When my daughter gets stressed about tests, I invite her to smell the lavender or notice the pink, blue, and purple shades of the hydrangea, her favorite plant. Now that she's a young woman who sends me photos of the hot cider she sips with friends at a cafe I've never been to today. Without any words, I am transported and feel her joy. Another day, she sent me a photo of the coffee she is drinking on her way to class. What's on top, I ask. Is it cocoa or cinnamon? Cinnamon, she says. And even without it near, I take her in, away from home, but as close as the scent on the tip of my nose. I won't stop living. I won't stop loving. I get to be the woman at Petco looking for kitty litter. I get to be the mom texting and calling my daughter. When she says, my classes are so terrible, I have 2 classes, 2 labs at 8 a.m. At 8 a.m., she says, and she repeats as though it's a swear or tragedy. I am not the mom who says you're lucky to be alive, or cha-ching, who silences her by reminding her how much those horrible courses cost. I meet her in this moment and say, I'm sorry you didn't get the classes, professors, or times you wanted, because I know how hard you work and how carefully you try to curate your schedule. I may not make it to 60, but I can make green bean casserole and crisp today, knowing my lover will not be eating with us, but at the table or at his tiny house in Canada where he feels close to his soul. There he can record the pheasant, stand still under the dead and dark sky of night, and find comfort among the countless stars overhead. Hopefully he will hear them call out to him brightly. They will calm, center, and steady his own beating heart as he learns to swim towards a future without me. I whisper my final prayer as I let go. Think of me as the blueberry picked from the path you hand cleared. Feel me near you. Sit in the chair by your office and stare at the sky. Let me be the morning sun you stretch and wake into, warming you, reminding you how beloved you are. Let me be the steadiness in your step after you stretch out the aches and try to start again. No, I'll always hover over and around you from boundless time, another country or galaxy away. I was grateful for your love, loyalty, and sharing frequent moments of sublime bliss. I will be as close as skin, as constant as heartbeats, and as invisible as the air you need to breathe. I will swirl and mix the cream in your coffee, becoming what you sip and ingest. Your rage will be forgiven, and in that melting where love is safe to return, maybe your rigid, hard edges will transform. But today, I choose life, peace, and self-love because I'm still here and refuse to disappear myself for anyone. I am the color yellow, relaxed, warm, a bit faded. I am lighter than butter, not as shiny as the sun, but my petals spread wide and outwards like a daisy. I am the color gray, cloudy and deep, like a storm coming or the fog rolling in. I am hazy and thick and hard to see through even when I feel I've been transparent. I am the red of rage, the red of blood, capturing all that is bright, raw, and vibrant. I am no longer as fresh as the color green. I'm not new, young, and growing anything other than cancer and hope. But oh, how I have learned to appreciate the shades of brown, the crinkly, brown, damp, and decaying leaves at my feet when I walk, splattered with fading shades of what they were as they head for the next world.
Jen, thank you. Jen, thank you so much for reading. I want to say Christine Sissy White is a joy-stalking writer with ovarian cancer and PTSD. She's been published in Ms. Magazine, the Boston Globe, and the Elephant Journal. Her advocacy has been highlighted in the Boston Globe, Atlantic Monthly, and on PBS NewsHour. She lives in Mass and blogs at Heal Right Now, healrightnow.com. Thank you so much, Jen. So we're going to move to Taslim Jaffer, Deborah Dolan, and Noelle Stern. So Taslim Jaffer, you are up next.
Hi.
There you are. Just one second. Taslim Jaffer is currently working on her debut memoir in essays, which is a multi-generational saga of migration, culture, and identity. She's a mom of 3 kids and a dog, a writing instructor, and a freelance editor. Taslim holds an MFA in creative nonfiction from the University of King's College in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Welcome, Taslim Jaffer.
Thank you for having me. Who am I today? I'm curled up under a blanket on my metallic gray swivel chair, turned to look out the French doors that open onto the back deck. To the side of the deck sit 3 cedar planters filled with soil and promise. The gladioli shoots have pushed through thick and strong, though I think it will be a while until their brilliant flowers show. Lemony yellow English violas, their petals outlined in light purple, dance a little in the breeze. Everything else rests under the dirt, waits. It's not a cold day, but I am comforting myself in this in-between place of feeling unwell and better. This in-between place looks like fixating on the young green buds of the maple tree, breathing in the 2-note call of the chickadees, peering at the house finches flitting from the feeder to the bare branches of the cottonwood tree. My ears are roaring but muffled, and I feel the way they sound, dull. I noticed the sunflower plants my friend gave me there on the edge of the deck, 5 of them between 2 containers, and I see they have reached a little further toward the sky. Maybe they will be ready to transplant to the bigger planters this weekend. Maybe by this weekend, I will have reached a little further toward the sun as well. Today, though, I am just an observer of everything growing around me. I don't know if I am like the dahlias below ground, dormant yet potential vibrancy, or more like the annuals on my front porch that rotted in the pots without proper drainage. Today, I am someone still living with a persistent dizziness, a fraction of who I think I would be if this didn't show up in my life and dampen my spirit. But who am I to know who I might be then? I only know what is right in front of me, who I am, here in this chair. A mom, a daughter, a wife, a sister, a writer, a teacher, a student, a soul. I take in the scene of where I am today. It has fuzzy, unclear edges, but also beauty. Some of it I can't see yet. It has potential and promise under a river of tears and darkness. I burrow deeper under my blanket. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taslim Jaffer. And next up, we have Deborah Dolan, and then Noelle Stern and Deirdre Mayer. So, Deborah Dolan, there you are. Wonderful. Okay. Deborah, I'm going to read your intro. Just one second. Deborah Dolan lives in the beautiful seaside walkable community of Ambleside, West Vancouver in Canada. She is a self-described pluviophile, avid reader of women's memoir and private journaler for over 50 years. Deborah enjoys enlightening conversations over red wine, solo nature hikes, and traveling. Her writings have appeared in numerous North American publications, and for any of you like myself who don't know what a pluviophile is, I have put a definition in the chat room.
It is
So welcome, Deborah. What?
A lover of rain.
Exactly. Welcome. Welcome, Deborah Dolan. Who am I today?
Thank you. And I wish I had a glass of red wine right now while I read this, but here we go. I am a woman who has forgiven my mother for marrying my rapist. It took me over 40 years, yet it has happened. I still feel so repulsed when I see the words strung together. Another aspect of my lived experience to overcome. My mother was never without decency or kindness. She was a young mother. Over the years, she has done a lot of very nice things for me, and I am grateful for so much. For most of my life, I was profoundly conflicted about our relationship. In the 1970s, my friends would comment that she was unlike all the other mothers. She was sophisticated. She's well-groomed and sexy. Hannah's German accent was exotic, and she always dressed to emphasize her legs. I do not understand what was happening between Keith and me when I was young. I was embarrassed to try to explain to anyone at first because I wasn't sure what it was. I remember thinking, wait a minute, was that right? Looking back, I thought the kissing, the fondling, the genital exposure was because I was special. I had a father's affection. I don't recall Keith saying that we had secrets, but I was aware it only happened in private. It was extremely confusing because I also loved him. One night he came into my room. He had been drinking and was breathing erratically. To this day, I cannot stand the smell of beer on a man's breath. I instinctively knew that this experience with him would be different than the other times. I pretended I was asleep. I was wearing violet-colored baby doll pajamas, and he pulled them down past my knees. Then he penetrated me deeply with his fingers. It hurt so very much. I recall a sensation of dissociation, of separating myself from what was happening in that traumatic moment, of being the bystander too, rather than the subject of this attack. The next morning, my rage burst. I told my mother what happened. I had pushed my dresser against the door so no one could enter. I was crying. My mother was very upset. At a later point, it might have been a few days or a week, she told me that she had spoken to Keith and that what had happened would never happen again. And it did not. But the damage had already been done. The trust broken beyond repair. I became frightened of him. I did not want to be alone with him. I bribed my younger siblings, Christine and David, with my babysitting money to stay home with me while Mom was at work. And when they would not, I attacked them. As soon as I was old enough, I left, and I have not been back in 3 decades. Keith had been in my life since I was 6 years of age. My birth father abandoned my mother and us children 3 years previous. Mom married Keith when I was a teenager. She married him in a civil ceremony at the courthouse months before she birthed a son, his first after 3 daughters. It was not until my 30s that I understood that what Keith had done was rape, and that he had groomed me over time to gain my trust. A wrong had been committed against me, and no one stepped up to take responsibility. In addition to telling my mother, I told an older step-sibling and a teacher. No one responded with meaningful action. I was a child. The trust and security I relied upon in those formative prepubescent years evaporated. I have worked very, very hard to regain them, alone and in my own way. I have learned that Keith died of natural causes in 2016 at the age of 92. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deborah Dolan. Next up is Noelle Stern, and then Deirdre Mayer, and then Rose Loving. So Noelle Stern, you are up. Can you wave your hand or give me a yell or say something on mute? Is Noelle here?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Excellent. There you are. Thank you. Okay, one second. Noelle Stern is an author, editor, and mentor who has published over 700 essays, stories, writing craft articles, spiritual pieces, and poems. She authored Challenges in Writing Your Dissertation, Coping with the Emotional, Interpersonal, and Spiritual Struggles, and Trust Your Life, Forgive Yourself, and Go After Your Dreams. Welcome to Noelle Stern.
Thank you, Kelly. This is a wonderful, wonderful gathering. I'm very grateful for it. And all of you people who have contributed, I applaud you. I really do. Identity. From my high floor terrace, I watch the cars on the highway scurrying back and forth. Toys importantly skimming along. I don't need to scurry or go. Content to stay on my high floor here, all supplied. Full refrigerator, enough clothes and appliances, crucial computer. And right, this is who I am today and every day. Writer. But still to wrest meaning from life, constantly asking, why life? What are we supposed to do, feel, aspire to, complete? Many answers, as many as self-appointed gurus lecture and blog. Give, love, express, create, exchange, experience, feel, reflect, yield, merge, accept, surrender. And know you can never get it done. But no single answer satisfies. The question echoes from midnight to morning, except for a small while, despite work with clients, calls with friends, nods with neighbors, for one answer. Like now, sitting on my high floor terrace, clipboard in lap, glancing up from my notebook, surveying the highway and sky and trees, eyes and mind back down to scribble again. Time fills, swells, stretches, enriches, finally stops and means something. But for how long? How long can my hand hold a pen? How long can my wrists hang on the keyboard, fingers flying? How long can my mind stop the to-dos and surrender to your words? Not long at all. But then I reflect. Hemingway published only 7 novels, with 3 more posthumously, but many short stories. Mary Faulkner, who wrote 904 novels under 6 pen names. Who's better? Certainly the lesser is more famous. Is quality the final arbiter? Quantity? Does it matter? My cousin said, I told my friends that when I die, they should toss everything into a dumpster. None of it means anything except to me. Is that how I feel, whatever my quality and quantity? Yes, about everything, but the writing. 3 full books, well, 1 barely counts, it's for children, and many essays, stories, poems, and collections. All the books sit proudly in my bookcase near the front door. And in cabinets, files on files of all stage pieces, some with intent to finish, some with notes hardly remembered, others flat, aborted early from lack of interest, but I can't get myself to throw them out. Who would be interested in any of it? A hunched over, ultra earnest graduate student laboring for an advanced degree for that coveted position, teaching a colossal lecture hall of freshman English at you name it university? Maybe, slightly. A relative of mine? Hardly. They're tired of hearing about my infrequent successes in publications no one ever heard of and feigning congratulations. Friends? In the middle of my reeling off a recent string, one cried, stop, stop. Was she jealous? My productivity a reprimand to her retired state as artist, with her only creativity now ingeniously using leftovers? No remedy, no final answer, except for one, today and every day the same, satisfying, unstoppable, yet shaky. Who am I today? Writer, writer.
Thank you so much, Noelle Stern.
Thank you.
And next up, we have Rose Loving, Sarah Birnbach, and Nancy Levinson. So Deirdre Mayer, you are next. Can you unmute? Yeah, there you are. Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Deirdre Mayer is a writer and poet. A number of her stories and poems appear in various anthologies online and in print. She completed an MA in creative writing at the University of Kingston, London in September 2020 with distinction. Deirdre lives in London and is happiest when writing. Welcome, Deirdre Mayer.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Jen. And it's an absolute privilege to be amongst you tonight, I have to say. Thank you. Who am I today? I am the old woman with stiff knees. I am the little girl with long, long hair. It falls all the way down my back. I am the woman giving birth, ankles bound in leather straps, legs held apart. I am 100 waking nights with a crying baby. I am the small child clutching Twinkle magazine, eating an HB brunch ice cream on the seafront in Salt Hill. I am the Irish immigrant mother waiting at the school gate in a leafy London suburb. I am the woman you see alone in the supermarket with tears behind her eyes. I am the widow, once a wife, There are millions like me, and I am unique. After you died, I thought I would have time to do many things, but I found I did not wish to do those things without you. I want to be loved, but you knew me to my core, and who will love me now? 31 years ago, I wrote this to you. Now is my heart's desire fulfilled. All I most wished for has been granted to me because you are in love with me. There was never a place for me in the world until I found myself in your arms. Always on the outside, the third child, the third in a world of 2 by 2. Accepted, but excluded. A strange and solemn child. A plain girl filled with longing. An ordinary woman. An immigrant, no longer of the old country, not truly accepted in the new. None of it mattered when we were together. Now I must make my way without you. How do I find myself? How do I negotiate this sea of grief? The waves rise to engulf me. I emerge gasping, blinking in the wintry warmth of the sun on my face. A million sparkles surround me on the surface of the water. I search for you in everyone. A therapist once asked me to write my name in the center of a blank sheet of paper, like this, Deirdre. You are Deirdre, she said, but you have many roles. I traced lines outwards like sunbeams from my name. At each end point, I wrote one word, wife, carer, mother, daughter, sister, aunt, colleague, friend, facets of a diamond. That's what you called me, your diamond. I am some of those things still, but not all. Whatever's remembered lives. You are never far from me. I will rise above the waters, carrying my love with me. I will float on new wings. I will invite abundance and welcome joy. I will look to the future without flinching. I am alone, but I can be happy alone. This is what I tell myself. So who am I today? I am Deirdre. I am a writer. I am a poet. I am me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deirdre Mayer. And now we are going to have Rose Loving, then Sarah Birnbach, and then Nancy Levinson. So Rose Loving, you're up. If you would unmute. There you are. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. I go outside.
Rose, I'm so sorry. Rose, excuse me. Let me just read your let me read your bio for us if you don't mind. Okay. Rose Loving moved to Vermont 47 years ago and knew that it was home. She graduated from Johnson State College, where she found a passion for ceramics. Rose has worked as a public school teacher, managed a gardening business, and taught yoga. Always a journaler. Recently, her focus is creative writing and poetry. Welcome, Rose Loving.
Thank you so much. I go outside and the door to my world swings open. It appears spring has truly arrived. The deck furniture stacked in the garage is begging for fresh air. I imagine hauling it out and head to the tool bucket for gloves. The corner of my eye catches the sight of the mellow yellow spirea, and I stop to pick leaves and scratch the dirt around it. I glance at the barberry on the nearby bank and stoop to clean it out. Then I remember the nasty thorns. They are so tiny and insignificant for days until they fester in the fingers, hard to find, but easy to feel. Surfacing from my reverie, I recall the journey to the gloves. I find myself at the P row thinking of clasp leaf hands inside each shell, quietly listening for that subtle drumbeat, the rhythmic call to break free. While turning the dark, musky soil, I wonder what else resides in this fertile bed before nesting the peas into place. I shed my earthly layer for a moment and look up to catch the red, swollen buds atop the maples. Soon, the spring green will roll up the valley, dark shadows stretch across the hills, conversing with the light and unfolding behind the clouds, both ominous and illuminating, a scale to balance the weather to come. I am upward now, like the cupped branches of the ginkgo, waiting for the rain to broaden its reach and open its palms. Finally, I free a chair from the garage, place it on the deck, and take the seat. I think about tea, but I have a few breaths instead to ponder this moment. What I know today is I am all of this. I am the door swinging open. I am the thorns that fester when I encounter my own irritation at my human race. I am the dark shadows as well as the light behind them. The pressed hands in the pea seeds, trusting when to cast off the unneeded shell and break new ground. The nourishing rain we know will arrive, cold as it might be, but warmly welcomed. I am all of this today. Today, I am all these things because today I have the eyes to see we are all the same.
Thank you so much, Rose Loving. And I am going to read through the rest of the list just to give you a sense of the readers who will be wrapping us up tonight. And it's Sarah Birnbach is next, and then Nancy Levinson, Raluca Butner, and Jen Minotti, and Amy Agigian. And so, Sarah Birnbach, you are next.
And I am here.
There you are. Welcome, Spotlight. And let me read your bio if you would, please.
Thank you. Okay.
Sarah Birnbach began her encore career as a nonfiction writer after careers as a management consultant, motivational speaker, and family therapist. Sarah's lifelong journaling practice informs her writing, for which she's received multiple awards and publications. Her memoir, A Daughter's Kaddish, My Years of Grief, Devotion, and Healing, was published in September 2022. Welcome, Sarah Birnbach.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you to Jen for this opportunity. I am humbled to be in the presence of so many wonderful women writers. Who am I today? I am 7+ decades, a septuagenarian who realizes daily that more of my life is behind me than in front of me. And so I am a woman who cherishes every day, looking for the beauty and goodness in everything and everyone around me. I am a woman who takes the time to delight in the giggles of children, the sounds, sights, and smells of the ocean, the colors of nature, the magnitude of sunsets. I am a woman who understands the importance of relationships, who takes time to nurture them, who never hesitates to say, I love you to those who mean the most to me, and who says, I'm sorry when I behave less than I would have liked. I am Jewish and no longer afraid to speak it out loud, no longer cowering under the fear of anti-Semites who would wish me dead, feeling braver and stronger than I have ever been before. I am the bearer of arthritic knees who struggles to stand up after playing on the floor with my grandsons, but who can still bench press 45 pounds in the gym and lift my 30-pound grandson and play soccer with his brother and feel proud that I can. I am a woman who carries the scars of a heart broken by a daughter who chose to cut off from my love without explanation. But like the Japanese art of kintsugi, I have mended that crack with the gold of my positive memories. I am a woman proud of every silver sparkle on my scalp that some would call gray hair, but which I prefer to honor as witnesses to my life's journey. I am a woman committed to doing the right thing for the right reason, regardless of the costs in time, energy, and emotional stamina. I am a woman who holds on to optimism, integrity, and principles in the face of others' prejudices, divisiveness, and moral failings, and feels shameless pride in doing so. I am a woman who has learned to conquer fear and use my voice and my pen to educate others and fight for social justice. I am a woman grateful to the Almighty for the many blessings that have enhanced my life. Who am I today? I am the best version of myself that I have ever been. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah Birnbach. And next up, we have Nancy Levinson. And Nancy, would you unmute? There she is, waving her hands at me. So helpful, everybody. Okay. Nancy Smiler. What? I'm going to introduce you, Nancy. So sorry. Just 2 seconds. Nancy Smiler Levinson is author of Moments of Dawn, a poetic memoir of love and family, affliction and affirmation, as well as 30 books for young readers. Her work has appeared in numerous journals and anthologies, most recently Global Poemic, Sleet, Writing in a Woman's Voice, Journal of Expressive Writing, and the Jewish Literary Journal. Welcome, Nancy Levinson.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Jen, for all the work that you do, the encouragement that you give to women to write, to dig into our souls. Rising. I first waved my wings as an angel lying in fresh fallen snow near Minnehaha Creek. In time when New York City called, I took flight from home, eked out a living with an Olivetti, read beat poetry by candlelight. Young and light-feathered, I set sail on the Atlantic, landing in countries far off, finding shelter. Later years, a longing song with my love, my matched mate. I crossed mountains and deserts, glided rivers, oceans, and lakes, guided our young to know new worlds, seeing again through starry eyes. Once more at home, but not at rest, a decade caring for my beloved husband in decline. I sit now nestled in a chair at my desk, my computer, and all the world it brings to me. I reach the crammed bookshelf at the wall to my left, the top shelf holding books that I have published, Explorers, Columbus and Magellan, Emma Lazarus and the Statue of Liberty. In moments of reverie, I gaze right to a window picture, stone pine trees, squirrels scampering up their branches. I hear a family of crows cawing in quarrel or agreement. They know not one day from another. As I sheltered here, tap, tap, tapping on my keyboard, having drifted from biography to poetic realm. Wings at my side, yet poetry is lifting me. Slowly, I rise. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy Levinson. And next up, we have Raluca Butner.
I'm here.
There you are. Thank you. Am I saying your name right, Raluca?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. Raluca Butner has always found great happiness in any creative outlet, writing being one of her favorites since she was little. She writes for herself and occasionally to share with others and hopes to continue creating for the rest of her life. Welcome, Raluca Butner.
Thank you so much. I'm just so grateful to be having this time with you all tonight. It's so beautiful. Who am I today? Feeling old and with nothing to show for these many years. Open the windows wide, dear. The moths are flying again, fluttering their fearful papery wings. Too late, too late, too late. Is it too late to begin? The mattress, so brittle, full of years wasted. On a pacing day such as this, echoing with, I wish. I saw the trees, still standing, empty-handed, without apology, and thought perhaps, being just might be enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raluca Butner. And next up, we have Jen Minotti. And I am going to read Jen's bio. Jennifer A. Minotti is a writer in residence at the Center for Women's Health and Human Rights at Suffolk University. Founder of the Women's Writing Circle and the Journal of Expressive Writing, Jen co-created the world's very first Gratitude Parade and helped establish Gratitude Day in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Welcome, Jen Minotti.
Thank you, everybody. It's really such a great honor to read my piece amongst all of you brilliant, fabulous, amazing women. I am just so humbled, and I also feel a little like a proud mama. So thank you, everybody, for being here. This is called Family Photo. In the framed 8.5 by 11 photo that sat on our player piano for the entirety of my childhood, we are standing under an old apple tree, mom, dad, and 3 girls. I am 2, my sisters are 6 and 9. My father is holding me. My middle sister has her arms wrapped so tightly around my father's thigh, it's as if she foresees the impending doom and yearns to hold on to this moment for as long as possible. It is 1971. My dad is a young lawyer. My mother is a stay-at-home mom, cooking hamburgers half-heartedly. Over decades, I searched for signs in that picture for cracks, foreboding, but the image was persuasive. In those days, success was the 3-bedroom house in the leafy suburbs with the kids playing in the front yard and the good school system a mile away. It was a far cry from my parents' own humble upbringings in Washington Heights and tenement housing on the Lower East Side. They had made it. Soon after this photo was taken, I don't know exactly when, my father began a several-year affair with a woman my parents knew from politics. I was only 5 or 6 at the time, but I remember people calling the house at dinner time to tell my mom that my dad was cheating. Anonymous letters also came to the house, ones my mother rubber banded and saved in the bottom drawer of her desk. One night, still holding the yellow rotary phone that was attached to the kitchen wall by its long tangled cord, I remember my mother yelling, "Mike, you tell these people to stop calling our house." But my mom never left, choosing instead to believe the photo on the piano, not the phone calls, letters, or the actual affair. Until one day in 1975, I came home from kindergarten to find my mom shoving my dad's clothes into large green trash bags. I remember thinking that they used these same green garbage bags not long ago on Halloween night to dress up as bags of leaves to go to a party. I was envious at the time that they would be having so much fun without us. I'll never know what happened on this particular day to make her crack, but she did. With me in tow, my mother got into her light blue station wagon and drove to my dad's office. His beige Mercedes, a symbol of achievement in those days, was parked in the back of the building he owned. As I sat in the front seat of the car, I watched as my mom pulled the garbage bags one by one from our back seat and tossed them into the back seat of my dad's car. It's an image I'll never forget. For another 30 years, that picture remained on my mother's player piano, abandoned like her. Each time I went home, less and less, I'll admit, I would stare at that photo, still searching for evidence of what went wrong, but never finding it. Since then, I've come to realize two things. First, sometimes you simply don't see it coming. And second, no matter how many times you scrutinize the past, some things will just never make sense.
Jennifer Minotti, thank you.
Thank you.
And last up, not least, we're going to hear now from Amy Agigian.
Okay.
Amy, I know you're here, but I'm
I'm
waiting.
here and I don't think you need to read my bio because you already did.
Okay, but I still need to see where you are.
Um,
There you are. Okay, gotcha.
okay.
Amy Agigian, welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much to Jen and to everybody for coming. And this is just such a soft spot in my life. Who am I today? Today, I'm not a pincushion and I'm not a blood bank. I'm not a Dairy Queen. I'm not the many-breasted Artemis. Today, I'm not here to make you smile. Who am I kidding? Today, I'll leave you with a warm feeling, whether I want to or not. Today, I'm still itchy, wanting so much, greedy for myself and for the world. We can do so much better. Today, I'm living in October. We still have seasons, though they're changing, getting harsher. Today, I'm living in the generations, and none of us is getting any younger. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy Agigian. Well, Jen, it is time for us to know the names of our book giveaway winners, if you have those. Do you want to go ahead and announce them?
I do. Felt like a TV host there for a second. I do, and here they are. So we have Maureen Melick and Larissa Kukan. You're like, come on down.
Are they here? Let's have them unmute and just say that they're here.
Yes, yes.
Who are we hearing from there? Are you?
Oh, I see here.
Are they both here?
They were just.
Can you say the
yes.
names
Oh,
again?
yes, she just yes. And I will. Larissa just logged back in. So Larissa and Maureen, I can contact you, or feel free to contact me, and we will. I will get your addresses, and we will get that book out to you.
So, Jen, we aren't going to have time for any additional questions necessarily, but I do think, I mean, it's been such an amazing night. These stories have been absolutely riveting, exquisite, poignant, just expansive. It's been really, I just can't believe how amazing this really, it's a slim anthology, but it's just giant with the depth and breadth of the voices that are in here. So I just can't thank you enough for letting us really be part of the world of this book and the world of the women's voices that are in it. It's absolutely been riveting to listen and be part of it tonight. And I know that everyone who's been here with us, and thank you everyone who has been here with us tonight. Such a supportive and amazing crowd. That's really been wonderful. But Jen, I do want to ask one question. Like, where do you hope the book will go from here? What kind of life do you hope it will have? Or what vision maybe do you have for what this group that has assembled here tonight might do to support this project.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Kelly, so much for hosting and for everybody being here. You know, this anthology came out of me listening to hundreds and hundreds of stories, just like the ones that you've heard tonight, from a simple prompt, writing for 5, 7, 10 minutes tops. Some of the stories that you heard were written, you know, they were written on the spot, which is so amazing. And I always thought, how can we find a home for these? They have to get beyond the 12 people in the circle, the 25 people in the circle, because these are amazing. People have to hear these stories. And so this is a dream, really, this is a dream for me to be able to put this collection together, to get it out further. But there's always people who just want to benefit just from the writing in a private, safe, secure space. And so I guess my actions to everybody would be purchase the anthology, help spread it, you know, far and wide, because the courage it took and the talent that it took for this collection of stories to come together I'm just in awe. And for those who like to write, you know, people ask me all the time, do I have to, you know, how do I publish? Or I don't want to publish. If you like to write. If you want to publish. If you want to come to a women's writing circle to write in a circle of amazing women and never share your writing outside of that circle, I encourage that also. So there's just lots of venues, but I guess my one kind of final thing is if you enjoy writing, if you enjoy journaling, keep doing it, because it has benefits not only for yourself, but for the world. And I really, really do believe that it's a way to, it's a form of social justice and social activism. I really, really do. It makes us all connect on a whole different level. So keep doing it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And let me just add, some of you here who did not read any writing that you have, you always have an opportunity to be on the reading list of our open mic, which meets monthly. And so we hope that if you didn't read something tonight, you will join us at a future open mic sponsored by the Journal of Expressive Writing, and we will get a chance to hear your words as well. So now, you had the 3 adjectives. Was there anything
I did. So if
anybody,
if you take 30 seconds or even
Sure.
15 seconds, I just wanted to ask people to type into the chat how they're feeling now. 3 words. No pressure. You can also jot them down next to you. But this is a little exercise that I always do in my women's writing circles. This exercise came from Kathleen Adams, who has founded the Center for Journal Therapy out in Colorado and has been doing work around journaling and expressive writing for decades. Check her out. And she has found, I love watching these come in. These are just fabulous. She has found that in writing for just a short amount of time, and I would say by listening to the expressive writing for just a short amount of time, that your mood can increase, what am I trying to say? Your mood can be enhanced and in more positive ways. So if you're feeling kind of low or kind of tired or kind of cranky before doing any kind of journaling or expressive writing or listening to others who are doing this work, just wait just until the end, and you can see some of these, some of how people are feeling inspired and grateful and calm and happy, moved. So there's research behind doing this kind of expressive writing and journaling.
So that's really, really powerful, Jen. It has been an amazing pleasure to be part of this community tonight. And thank you for sharing your gifts with all of the writers who read, and for all of the writers who read sharing their gifts with us tonight.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Kelly, so much to our host and producer, Kelly Dumar. And thank you to Amy Agigian, the publisher of this great anthology, and to all of you who read and to all of you who listened. Writers need listeners, so I'm so grateful for all of you who are here tonight. Yay.
Jen will be sharing information about the recording being posted for any of you who want to watch it, share it, spread it into the world. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.